Hey folks. Welcome. Welcome to a meeting about nothing. There's nothing to get, no information for you. There's nothing speaking, there's nothing listening, there's nothing happening. Literally. I'm not being figurative and I'm not being funny, although it sounds funny. It's nothing. It's emptiness. You could call it home for no one. The message is about not to, which in layman's terms means it's not about you. The message is there isn't a you. The message is there's nothing looking out of those eyes. There's nothing hearing these words. What's seeing isn't a position separate from the screen that's being seen, or the words that are being heard, or even the words that are spoken. It's simply what's arising. It's unrecognizable freedom. Unrecognizable. You never get it. You don't get it. That's not a mistake. That's not a problem. In the dream of me that feels like it needs to get something, it seems to be a problem. It seems to be that there's somebody listening and somebody hearing and somebody understanding, or not. That's a dream. It's an illusion. It's an illusion of separation. There aren't two positions. There's not even one position. They're just simple, easy, arising. It's emptiness. It doesn't need you. You are the first experience that says something needs to happen for it to be what I'm looking for. That's not true. That's an energetic looking for something else. That's an energetic need to feel happy, to feel joy, to feel peace. That's an illusion. It arises out of an illusory experience of separation. It's an illusion. So it doesn't matter. Nothing matters. Only to that illusion does the appearance and what seems to be happening matter. Because it feels like it needs something more than what is. So it seeks, not because it wants to, but because it sets a function of itself. Knowing, owning, and seeking is the function of the experience of being separate. That's just what happens. Nobody does it. This isn't about you becoming not you. This isn't about you becoming unknowing. This isn't about you recognizing there's no position. That never happens. It's about there isn't a you. Nothing needs to be recognized. Nothing needs to be realized. This isn't about something happening. It's about that there's nothing happening already. That's what this is. Nothing happening. The meeting's about nothing, and nothing's happening. Still nothing happening. There's happening. I understand that. But that's nothing. That's emptiness. It's just happening. It's causeless. It's meaningless. It's pointless and purposelessness. It's freedom. Already. There is no way to find what's happening already. There's no way to lose what's happening already. That experience that something needs to happen is simply an illusion. And it never goes away. There's a recognition that it never happened. So looking for it to go away is just the same thing. It doesn't. And this isn't about recognizing that it never happened. This is more about that it doesn't matter. It has no relevance. There is no consequence to the dream of me. It's a dream. It's the dreamer's own dream. And when that dream ends, nothing happened. Makes no difference. This is already free. Thanks, good night. No, just kidding. Just kidding. So if we'd like to discuss it, that's all right. Or
Hi, Jim.
Hey there.
I'm listening to, it's good to see you again, firstly.
And you.
I'm listening to what you're saying, and half of me is just going, yeah, of course, like, it's so obvious.
You didn't listen to what I was saying because it's got nothing to do with you. That's what I was saying.
I think the question that I wanted to ask was, so you said that when the dream ends, I'm kind of paraphrasing it, it's recognized that it never happened.
Yeah, so it doesn't end.
So how does the recognition happen?
What do you mean?
So right now, there's an experience here of separation, that something's really happening, and that everything's serious, everything matters, and that kind of thing.
Yeah, and that stops happening.
Pardon?
And that stops happening.
How?
How?
Yeah.
Well, if there were a how, it would be real. There'd be a real person who was really separate, who could really do something about finding what's really happening. None of that's true. There's nothing really happening. There's no one really separate. You didn't listen. You're looking for what is already. You can't find what is already. Looking for what is already is what is already.
But
I always say but. I always say but. And really what you're saying is, what about me? But what about me?
Well, what I mean is,
it's about you.
Me or the I can never see that.
No, it dies. There isn't a me or an I. It's an illusion. Has no reality at all except for the experience of itself.
So if I'm going around and around in a circle...
There isn't a you to go around and around in a circle. Going around and around in a circle might be happening, which is all that experience can do, because it's looking for what is already, which is going round and around in a circle. Nobody does that. Knowing goes around and around in a circle, hoping that enough knowing will make it okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that, yeah, at some point I'm going to understand something, and
Yeah, you're going to get it.
And then that's going to cause...
Yeah. Yeah, well, the initial movement of the individual, the initial movement is something needs to happen. And what happens in the individual's experience is knowing. So it expects there to be a knowing. Something's going to happen that's going to change its perspective and make everything different. Make everything whatever's being said here, make it into that. That doesn't happen. It's hopeless. It's completely hopeless.
What I kind of wanted to, what I'm wondering about is, in the final liberation that's apparently happened there for, well, not for you, but
there isn't a final liberation. You're looking for something to happen, and you think that what this is saying is something happened here. What this is saying is there's something happening there, which is illusory.
Yeah.
And when that stops happening, it's recognized it never did. There's only what's happening. Waiting for that to stop happening, or waiting for that to become like this, is just part of the dream.
Yeah. So
this doesn't have something that doesn't have. That has something this doesn't. The waiting for something to happen.
That's the, what's it called? Like the erroneous belief or whatever, is that, yeah, you've got something that I need to happen to me. So
now the erroneous belief, the erroneous experience is that this isn't it, and something needs to happen.
Yeah.
That's it.
But that's always...
And nothing can be done about that, because nobody's doing it. It arises out of an illusory experience. That's it. That's all there is. That's the story. And as long as that's happening, they'll be seeking. And when that stops happening, nothing ever happened. The whole dream was an illusion. The whole experience that something needs to happen, and all the need and all the complication that arises out of that, is an illusion. Nothing needs to happen now, and nothing will need to happen when that illusion ends. And nothing will have brought about the end of that illusion. It's an illusion. It's not happening. Nothing needs to happen. There is only unrecognizable freedom.
I feel like crying, because...
Yeah, it's sad.
It's not even that it's sad. It's just there's so much effort and struggle that goes into trying to find what is felt like it's missing. And
yeah, it's a total straitjacket, me.
I'm not
about being a good person and getting it right. Absolutely.
Because it's a constant struggle, and there's no need for it. But at the same time, there's nothing that can be done to stop it. So it feels like I'm stuck.
Well, there's stuckness. Nobody's stuck. But yeah, there's stuckness. That's exactly what it is. You're stuck. And it's hopeless.
Because I'm so used to, from what I've learned growing up, and this...
This is nothing about what you've learned. That whole construct that you're now trying to implement into this conversation is attached to, or hanging on to, the experience that something needs to happen. That's the illusion. It says, for this to be unrecognizably free, or for this to be home, something needs to happen. That's an illusion. That's not true. There is no separation. There is nothing that's not already free. Period.
Yeah.
Anybody at this meeting, run now. If you still have the sense that you have free will and choice, go. This is the last place you want to be. You do not want to hear what's being said here. If you had a choice, you wouldn't be listening to this. This is not where you want to be, because it's not about you. If there's an experience of I am happening, that's called ignorance, and ignorance has a sense of bliss to it. And when it's recognized it's not there anymore, a huge panic can arise. You don't want this message. I'm telling you, you don't want it. If something's happening, it's not you. There's a resonance, maybe. If you think this is useful, you're misunderstanding. Go somewhere else that's going to help. This is not about you. The message is just simply not about you. The message is there isn't a you. You are the experience that something needs to happen to make this unconditionally free. That's an illusion. That experience is unrecognizable freedom having that experience. That's it. It's all there is. There's nowhere to go. It's over already. You're already dead.
I'm lost for words now.
All right, it worked.
Try and come back with any argument, but
why bother, man? Why bother? Nothing helps. Nothing helps. Nothing helps because nothing needs to happen. Do you hear that?
So the more that I listen to you or talk to you, does it make it any more likely?
Absolutely not. That's just a story. And you don't ever talk to me. You don't do anything. That's the dream of ownership. When the I arises, it arises as a knowing, owning, seeking energy. Nobody does that. That's just a function of that arising. You don't do anything. You've never done anything. With the end of me isn't the end of something that was really happening. It's the recognition that nothing ever happened. This is already the case. This is nothing happening. So talking to people looking for a cause-effect relationship in order to end something that's not happening, it just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't happen. It's not the way it goes.
Okay. Thank you for...
Yeah, thanks, William.
Jim?
Yeah, hi.
Hi. I have heard many of your talks.
Okay.
So there is a certainty coming from Jim's form.
There's a what?
There is a certainty about truth.
No, there's no certainty.
So this is also certain, right? The way you are saying.
No, there's no certainty. I'm certain about that.
So how does the certainty, how does that can come here?
You're asking about something.
I have all questions and you have all answers.
There isn't a certainty, and there are no answers. If you hear answers, you're misunderstanding. There are no answers. There's no need for answers. The need for answers only arises with the knower. The knower then wants to know how to live its life. It wants to know how to be safe and secure. It wants to know what death is and what enlightenment is and how to deal with the emotions and feelings that create so many issues in its life. Those are what the answers are about. There's no solution to that. The end of the questioner is the end of the need for answers, but those answers are never answered.
How can the questioner in this side can end?
Huh?
I still have questions. I am a seeker.
You're a seeker, yeah.
How can the seeker end?
It's not happening. It doesn't end. It's hopeless.
And okay, the second question is, you don't talk about awareness, anything about awareness at all.
No.
Yeah. So some talk about they go logically and then finally.
That's not a teaching. Anything to do with consciousness or awareness or now, those are all have to do with the individual, with knowing. All teachings come out of an experience of knowing. This message is not about knowing. It actually comes from the recognition or revelation that there's nothing known. This conversation isn't actually known. This arising isn't knowable. It's unknowing arising. It's just simply happening.
So can we say that people who talk about awareness and reaching that, they really do not know the truth?
Oh, I have no idea. There is no truth. I don't know what they know. I imagine they're having the experience that they found being more conscious or being aware or finding now beneficial, and they're trying to help people with that. Nobody does that. That's just what happens. This isn't a criticism of teachers, but it definitely undermines teaching as still being trapped in the experience of knowing, which is related to this experience of separation, which is the experience of separation. But there's nothing right or wrong with that. That's just what happens.
Does time exist?
No, nothing exists.
There must be something existing which creates the illusion, right?
No, nope. Nothing's creating the illusion. There isn't an illusion. That's the reason it's called an illusion. The illusion is the illusion's own dream. There's nothing outside of that acting on it, and nothing inside it acting on the outside. It's a dream within itself of something really happening, with all these dream consequences and experiences that happen within that, such as meaning and purpose and enlightenment and finding God and becoming happy and integrated and becoming more aware. That all happens within the dream of the individual.
Am I hearing this in my dream?
If you're hearing this, that's a dream. What happens is, hearing happens, and it happens if there's an individual. It happens within the cloud of knowing that the individual is. And the experience of the cloud of knowing of the individual is that it's in the body. It's not. It's everything that arises. It takes over all of the appearance as a part of itself, as a part of its knowing experience. That's why for me to say, or this to say there's no existence, that makes no sense over there. Because there's obviously an existence to that over there because you know it. That's just part of the dream of the individual, that knowing of existence.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Jim, I got a question.
Yes, sir.
Sometimes you have used this term contracted energy,
Yeah,
and I was wondering whether it can be misconstrued
probably.
either by the listeners that
Probably.
that there is something that is there.
Yeah, probably.
But why do you use that example?
Because that's what happens. That's what happens. There's a contracted energy in the body which arises as the knower, the owner, and the seeker. That's what apparently happens. That's a story. Of course, nothing's happening. This is nothing happening. But nothing's happening, and in nothing happening arises this story, and this story then goes, hey, Jim, what's happening? And this responds and goes, well, there's a contracted energy that has the experience that there's knowing, owning, and seeking, and it's a dream.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
No, thank you.
Hi, Jim.
Hey.
Would you say that the me is more illusory than anything else?
Yes,
Like
it is the only illusion in the appearance.
in some of your talks, you talk about real and unreal,
Yeah.
and that the only thing that is completely unreal is the me.
Yeah, exactly. That's right.
Can you say more about it?
Well, just that it's not happening. It's the experience that what appears as real, knowable, in relationship to me. That never happens. It's the experience of separation. There isn't any separation. There never is separation.
Right.
So it's completely illusory. The whole dream is illusory. And so when that dream ends, it's not actually that anything ends. It's recognized all of that dream and all of the claims were illusory. It never happened. It never happened. It's not happening. There isn't anybody there.
Sort of. But everything is illusory.
No. That's apparent. Seems to be happening, doesn't it? It's empty.
Yeah.
I mean, it has no consequence. It has no past or future to it, but it seems to happen. It's meaningless, but it seems to happen.
So is the me seems to happen.
Yeah, to me it does.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jim,
Yeah,
do you hear me?
I do.
I have a question. This contracted energy,
Yeah.
it's also related with the energy we feel in the physical body.
No, you will never recognize this contracted energy until it falls away. It's only in its falling away that it's recognized.
And this energy which we feel in a physical body,
Tension?
tension.
Yeah.
Because you said there's nothing we're gonna get here, but in the other hand, for me it's totally different in listening to you.
Yeah, but that's not for you. You're not getting anything.
But
The
it's
relaxation isn't you getting something.
but it's felt in the body a lot of energy.
Yeah, I get it. I understand that. There can be a relaxation. There can be sort of an unwinding. Even understanding this message can have some sort of relaxing effect. Yep, it can. It can also have the other effect. It can make contraction. You know, a very rational response to this message is to say, well, what an idiot, I'm leaving.
It is also, it's both. Sometimes
For you, it's both. That's funny. Yeah, I believe that.
Sometimes I get crazy.
Yeah.
Desperation, and it's like I don't have nothing to cling on it.
No, there's nothing to hold on to. There's nothing to hold on to.
But me, it's always asking in this moment, what is the purpose of living anymore?
Absolutely. It needs purpose. It thinks that purpose is necessary.
And also comes a lot of fear, not to do crazy things or.
Yeah. Oh, well, crazy. Lots of people claim they're going to go crazy. To me, that just seems like the me's last stand. It's like, if you keep going, I'm going to go crazy. Nobody ever has. It's just a threat.
Yes.
Hey, Jim.
Thank you.
Hey.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
And thank you so much. This is amazing. It always is. So there's this notion, not necessarily here, but that's been heard, that this unrecognizable freedom has this seeming appearances that are all part of it, and that those seeming appearances and all the happenings are there for that unrecognizable freedom to know itself.
Yeah, that's a dream. And it comes out of
you.
And it comes out of
That's bullshit. Thank you.
It comes out of exactly what you said. That's what happens. The me can't get that there's no separation. So it says unrecognizable freedom becomes the appearance. It doesn't.
Thank you.
It is the appearance.
Yes.
Whatever is arising is is not but unrecognizable freedom. It's already free. There's nowhere to go. There's nothing to find.
No purpose, no idea, no meaning, no reason.
Just freedom.
Just freedom.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you. That's
thank
really been a stumbling block because you keep running across it. It's like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah. Lovely. Man, you're awesome. And then, know you?
No. Well, except if I'm awesome, then it's all right.
Awesome. Awesomeness is happening.
Awesomeness is happening. Look. No.
Jim, this is Allie.
Hi, Allie.
How are you?
Good,
or not you? Quick question. Could you sort of talk about, you mentioned apparent happenings and illusion. Could you talk a little bit about sort of your definition for those two things? Because I don't understand the distinction between apparent arising and an illusion.
Yeah. An illusion isn't. So me, the experience of looking out of that body and hearing these words is illusory. there's looking out of the body, or there's seeing, but nobody does that, and nobody hears. So the ownership of that apparent happening is completely illusory. And that ownership says that what's happening is real, that it matters, that it's important, because it's in relationship to the knower. So it all matters to the knower. That's illusory. There is no separation. The me, the knower, the contracted energy, and everything that arises out of that is a total illusion. It's only real for that illusion itself. There has no effect on anything else. That's all there is to it. Everything else that arises is simply neither real nor unreal.
Great.
It's unknowing arising. It's just happening.
Great. I didn't understand the difference between the terms, so I appreciate you clarifying them.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. It's beautiful. It's really beautiful. And there's a need here to say that out loud. It's amazing. So not much more than that.
Thanks.
Thank you.
You're on.
Oh, yeah. Hi.
Hi.
So you open this talk by saying it's unrecognizable because you never get it.
Yeah.
You don't get it. But you don't get anything, right? Ever.
No. Well, it's not that you don't get it. It's that there isn't a you.
Yeah, yeah. How could something that doesn't exist get anything?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing that in the face of that, the illusion can still be maintained.
Yeah, it is.
So obviously this is just from the dream speaking, but can you talk about what it is that maintains the illusion?
It's just a circle that arises out of contracted energy. I guess you could say the contracted energy maintains the illusion.
What's that?
With what?
With the contracted energy.
It's just a contracted energy in the body out of which this knowing energy arises.
So like in the same way that like a balloon is like contracted energy when you squeeze the balloon? Is that it?
I guess.
Okay. Cool. That's all I got.
All right, great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Jim.
Hey there.
Hey. I don't know how to explain this, but it's. I feel like I can let go of myself, and I can dissolve my sense of self. And it seems like I can say like nothing is happening or there is nothing.
That's called detachment.
I can be like totally detached.
Yeah, that's what, but we're not talking about detachment. Detachment is very much what most of the spiritual teachings are about awareness, detachedness, consciousness, about being behind or in the now, which seems to be somehow have a different energy than everything that's happening. That's a detached energy, that's a detachment. That's not what this message is about. It's actually about the end of that which would want to be or could have the experience of being detached. And when that's gone, there's no separation. So there's no distance or disillusion to anything. It's just full on life. There's just life.
Okay. Now that was really helpful. Like the point about the thing that is detached. Like yeah, it's just I keep doing that in my.
You don't do anything, man. You don't do anything. It happens. It seems to be a good idea. People come along and say detach, be conscious, and so it makes sense, and so you do. The message of a teaching is in total alignment with the experience of the individual that something needs to happen. And so the individual hears it and goes, yeah, something needs to happen. Detachment, consciousness, being aware, being now. That fits totally. It's even logical, makes sense, I'll go for that. Nobody does it, but that's what happens.
Yeah, all right.
Apparently.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Hi, Jim.
Mm.
I wanted to ask, so this is actually happening.
I thought you were dead already.
I wish.
All right.
It's taking longer than planned.
All right.
Could be a while. So this is actually happening or not?
No, it's not actual. There is no actuality.
So the appearance that...
Wait, did you hear that? When we talk, I don't think you hear it. There's no actuality. There's no actuality.
What do you mean by no actuality? Like, you mean nothing that's real?
There's no actuality. There's apparent, but nothing actual. There's nothing that's knowable. There's nothing to hold on to. You can turn that around both ways.
So, seeing that image on the screen
is what's happening. There's only what's happening, and nothing can hold on to that.
But it's not really happening.
Apparently, but not really. Nothing's real.
So, the idea that there's got to be a reason for this is just
come down to the illusion that it's really happening. If it's really happening, it'd be really good if it had a reason, wouldn't it?
And it's going somewhere.
Because it would matter. It would matter then, wouldn't it? Yeah.
And it's going to lead.
It just matters to me. It's all about me.
It's going to lead to me getting what I want.
Yeah, right. How's that going for you? Sorry.
but also, I've got this idea that you and Tony, and if there's anybody else who shares this sort of similar message, it's got to be happening at this time in human history for a reason.
Right. Oh, that's a good story.
In terms of like, so obviously there's the spiritual stuff's been popular for however long, and according to what you and Tony say, and I agree that it like keeps you in the prison of believing that, you know, you're real and you can take these actions, follow this process, and get some.
What we're talking about now.
Pardon?
What are we talking about? Being present?
Things like that, being present, meditation.
Oh, okay, right.
All these different practices like surrender.
Yeah.
I've forgotten half of it. It's been that long since.
From my point of view, those are all just misunderstandings. It's just misunderstanding. That's all. It's very simple. It doesn't matter, man. You're trying to work this out. You can't work out what's happening. It doesn't need to be worked out. Any need to work out what's happening is just simply the hope that by working it out, you're going to find what you're looking for. You won't. You will never find what you're looking for. There's not enough working out for this to be okay. As long as there's the experience of separation, there'll be a need for something to happen.
Hey, Jim.
Hey.
Hey, it's Frank from Essen.
Hey, Frank.
Hey. How you do?
Good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, fine. I always have one question in my mind. You see, in Zen Buddhism, they have this koan teaching. You know about it?
Yeah. Well, I know. I've heard of koans. What's one hand clapping? Yeah.
Right. And this message.
What was your face before you were born?
Right. And this message is the same thing. You know?
Not really.
Yeah. The whole day you see this just an impossible message, you know, and maybe you think it's something similar that the mind sometimes switch off and just disappear. You think it's something similar?
No, this has nothing to do with the mind disappearing. Wait, I think you mean thoughts stop happening or something, because I don't know what a mind is really.
No.
It's not about the end of thoughts. It's the end of the one that takes ownership of thinking.
Yeah, maybe you think maybe it's the same thing. Maybe it's the same thing that something really will disappear. The illusion, something will disappear if you just in this message the whole time.
He comes up with all sorts of ideas about what's going to happen to it and how it's going to feel better when the right thing happens. It's just it's just that initial experience now that something needs to happen for this to be unrecognizably free. That is an illusion. It doesn't happen because there's nothing that's not already free.
So you don't think that like Zen, the center of Zen has something to do with it?
Nothing has to do with this. There's nothing that has anything to do with this.
All right. Okay. Yeah, we're still searching. Like yeah. Okay. Jim, take care of you.
Thanks, Ray.
Yeah.
Hey, Jim.
Hey, man.
Hey. The recognition of no me, when that happens, does that reside anywhere?
So, no, of course not. And there's no recognition of no me. There's the recognition there never was a me.
Uh-huh.
The me doesn't drop. There's no me to drop.
Right.
Yeah.
But that knowing whatever doesn't reside.
It's not a knowing.
Okay.
You've been to a couple of these. This message is about nothing.
Right.
No thing. Unknowing.
I've got to watch more tapes, I guess.
No, it's just about unknowing. It's not about getting the me. The me is its experience is that something needs to happen. Something needs to be added to itself because there seems to be something missing. And so it assumes that this is talking, that something happened here, which made it better. So I found something, or this found something, and knows something that doesn't know, because it assumes that the only solution to a question is an answer.
Right.
This isn't about answering any questions. There are no answers to questions. There is the end of the questioner. Revealing, there's no need for any questions. There's nothing that needs to be answered. It's already whole and complete and fulfilled. Already.
Okay.
Nothing needs to happen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Jim.
Hey, Gary, we're going back to consciousness.
Can you talk a little bit about happiness and unhappiness? I mean,
happiness is a part of is coming out of me. Me is the one that wants to be happy. It's a contracted energy that what it does is when something arises that it experiences or that fits its ideas of beauty or joy or happiness, it immediately tries to grasp onto it and keep it going. It's a total immediate experience wanting to be happy.
But what you're saying is that I am already happy.
No, man.
I'm not experiencing it.
No. No.
I can never be happy.
That's probably true. That's not true, actually. Because if you were never happy, that would be really okay, because you wouldn't know. Because if there were only unhappiness, there would be no comparison, and that would be fine. The problem is, you're happy sometimes and unhappy sometimes. That's the problem.
It's humans.
But the message is, Gary, listen to me. The message is, there's no you. There's no I am. I am, listen to me, I am, I am is an illusion. I am is an illusion. I can't hear you anymore. You gotta turn on your mic.
Yeah, no matter what you say or what I hear you saying, the experience is that I'm not happy.
Yes, exactly. That's the experience.
Why is illusion always full of suffering and pain? Why can't we just have an illusion that's wonderful?
Well, the experience of separation is like being cast out of the Garden of Eden. It's one of discomfort. I am is the thorn in the appearance. And some thorns create more pus and unhappiness than others.
And there's no way out of that.
There's no way that it's not happening. It's a dream. It's an illusion.
I don't know what else to say because it's almost impossible to ask the right question.
Well, there isn't a right question because there isn't an answer. The right question would be that you could ask something and get an answer that's going to help you. There's nothing here for you. So there's no right question.
You're experiencing happiness and we're not.
What's that?
You're experiencing happiness and we're not.
Well, that's your dream. That's your dream. You dream because you seek happiness. That what this is talking about is happiness. That's completely untrue. What we're talking about is the end of seeking. And seeking as suffering can end. But that doesn't mean that unhappiness doesn't arise. Anger definitely arises. Joy arises. There's just emotions and there's just thoughts. This isn't about becoming. I know you've followed teachers, and I know that teachers often sit on thrones and act very peaceful and happy and talk about happiness and joy beyond bounds and all the rest of it. That is not what this message is about. This message is about there being no one left. This message is about there being no need to be happy. It's not against happiness, but there's no need. We're talking about a freedom of need for this appearance to be what I want, because I feel there's an emptiness in me that needs to be fulfilled through experience. And experience is never enough. And the message is that entire experience, that entire happening, is an illusory experience of separation arising as a knowing energy out of a contracted energy in the body that nobody does. Nobody's doing it. Nobody does it. It just simply seems to happen. And that then the response from here is, that's an illusion. And there's nothing anyone can do about it.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Gary. Hey.
Yeah. It's me again.
Oh, there you are. Yeah, hi.
Okay, so there's a rocket here. Okay. So you are talking that there is no me.
Yeah.
And listening happening, there is a seeing happening, there is a sensing happening.
Yeah.
So there is a difference between listening, seeing, sensing. So
there's no difference to anything. There's just what's happening.
But I'm able to sense that listening is different.
Yeah, well, as long as you're there sensing it, then there seems to be a difference because there seems to be separation.
Okay.
And so there's a seeking the difference, and there's a trying to figure out what's better and what's worse and what's right and what's wrong, because that arises out of the experience that something's missing. The message is that is illusory. I am hearing is an illusory experience, which hides the reality that all there is unconditional freedom.
Okay. So can you say that if we stop thinking,
this has nothing to do with thinking. Thinking is only a problem for I am. Feelings are only a problem for I am, because I am is trying to find a way out. It's trying to find a solution to the situation. It doesn't know it's separation. It just knows that it's somehow unfulfilled. And so with the emotions and the thoughts, it thinks that because those are the things that torture it most. It thinks if it can control those, get them to be right, get them to work out in the right way, not have the ones that you shouldn't have and have more of the ones that you should have, that your life would be more of what you're looking for. This isn't about controlling those. This isn't about detachment. It's about that happens for no one. It's only when there's someone there that is invested in what's happening because they're looking for something else. Do that whole construct get into sort of a straitjacket experience of trying to be a good person, trying to get it right, trying to move in the right direction to find what is experienced as missing? All these questions come because you have the experience that what's happening is real. When this appears as real, when this appears as known to that experience of I am, it's suddenly dissatisfying. It's suddenly separate. That's the experience. Something is happening, it's real, it's separate. Then arises the need or the experience that what happens either has or needs meaning and purpose. And that I have the responsibility with my experienced free will and choice to fulfill more or less these meaning and purpose, which is my path to find what I feel has been lost. And that entire construct is completely illusory. There is only what's happening, and this, what's happening, is already unrecognizably free. It doesn't need any of that.
So you're saying the sense of I is not a result of thinking?
No, it's not. No, it's not. It comes out of a contracted energy in the body which says it knows or says I am real. What's happening is real. It actually arises as a cloud in which everything which arises is then belongs to that experience. Cloud of knowing, cloud of me, which hides the appearance as unrecognizably free already. Nobody ever gets it. Nobody ever becomes free. This isn't coming from a knowing of freedom or an experience of freedom or an experience of happiness. This message, like everything else, is no thing or unconditional freedom happening. There's nothing else.
Thank you. Thank you again.
Thank you. Thanks.
Hi, Jim.
Hey.
Hi. No, my turn, William.
Go for it.
Can I have a turn?
Yes, go for it. Yeah.
Okay. So Jim, like this, I just get a sense like it's literally there's just what's happening. So there's no substance behind it. There's no meaning. Like the words that we're sharing are just words. They don't have meaning. They don't have substance. They don't have context. So yeah, I just wondered if you could talk a bit more about that, about like the undivided whole. It's literally just what's happening. There's nothing else. There's no.
But what's happening is not that there's no solidity behind it. There is no solidity.
Yeah.
There's nothing to hold on to. There's nothing to know. There's nothing to recognize. What?
It's that simple.
Yeah, it is.
It's just what's,
simple. It's
just
simple.
what's happening.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but like there's even though we're kind of talking about something, interesting, it still just sounds. It's still there's no. Yeah, there's nothing graspable, like you say. There's nothing.
But I feel a little bit like you're trying to pull apart the appearance and make it just sounds. That's not really where the message goes, because of course there's understanding of words, and there's this apparent exchange about what is and what isn't, and the experience of the individual. The message is really more that this arising is not happening for anyone, so that this arising isn't actually real. Nor is it unreal. It is unconditional or unrecognizable freedom happening as a conversation, happening as a beautiful cordwood house, just happening.
How do you recognize that I'm in a cordwood house?
I do. I wanted to build one for years.
Oh, that's amazing! You can just from the wall behind me.
Yeah, I recognize it immediately.
Excellent. Yeah, we built this ourselves.
Well, that's the point of it, isn't it? You don't have to lift anything heavier than 2 or 4 kilos.
Yeah, it's like half a meter thick walls.
Yeah.
And we've got a grass roof, and it's an ellipse. The shape of it is an ellipse.
Beautiful.
Do you want to see some more of it?
Not right now. I think we're sort of in the middle of something else. Thank you very much.
But can you say something more about the undivided whole? Just I don't know, just that.
Undivided whole. Well, you can't really say anything about this. That's the point. And there would be no reason to. The only reason that there's this message is because there's an experience that says this is a really dividedness. And the response is there isn't. And that experience of I am has certain facets of how it experiences the appearance. About that we can talk. About how meaning and purpose arises, how it has the experience of separation through knowing, how the cloud of me is actually not in the body, it is everything that arises within that experience as an ownership, an experience of mind. We can talk about that, but you can say absolutely nothing about the emptiness that is everything already.
Yeah, of course.
It's unknowable.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're already. It's this. It's words. It's the words.
Yeah. It's not even this, is it? What would this mean? It's not even this.
Yeah.
Can't say a thing about it.
Yeah, because it's everything.
Yeah, and nothing at the same time.
So we can't even say all there is what's happening, because really what is happening? But we can't even point our fingers at it, because by the time we move the finger to point, it's already gone.
Well, no, because the pointing and the moving of the finger is it as well. There isn't a position where it's not. There's just no position where it is separate that can be known. There's only that. So it's not that it can't be found, it's that it can't be lost. It can't be known.
Yeah, I was relating a bit more to the immediacy of everything.
Yeah, but there is only the immediacy. Moving the finger to point at it is the immediacy. There's no way to objectify it. That's the reason it can't be known or pointed to. But everything that arises is that. There's nothing that's not that. There's no way to lose it. There's no way to find it. It is already.
You're killing me. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jim.
Yeah.
I want to ask you about knowing. You mentioned that there's that the me or the I or whatever is a knowing energy, but in reality we don't, or the knower that's the illusion, correct?
Yes.
That it's an illusion of knowing. We think we know things.
Yeah.
And in reality, that's nothing is known.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
Jim, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
I don't even know how to put this question. What about this separation, apparent separation happens when we are little, as 2 or 3 years old, and then it's get strengthened over the years. So there is a time element coming in.
In the dream.
In the dream.
You're just telling me a story.
Yes.
There is no separation. But in the story, there's an apparent separation with 18 months or so, and that seems to, as it grows, it collects beliefs around it, which makes it feel more secure and more stable. Yeah?
Yeah. So it's in the dream. It's illusion.
Well,
So
it's not happening.
It never happened.
No, it doesn't have. Nothing ever happened.
Nothing happened.
Show me something that happened. Tell me something that happened. Tell me something that happened in the past.
Oh, that's in the dream.
No, that's just what's happening. The dream is that it really happened.
Yes. So like I was born.
That's a dream.
That's a dream.
Yeah. That body was born. That's just this having the memory, which you probably don't have, of the body being born. Or of going to school on the first day, or buying all the books that are behind you. That's just this appearing as the memory. It didn't really happen. Nothing really happens.
Oof.
Oof. That's a good answer.
That's it. Yeah, that's it.
That's it. Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Jean-Marc, you wanted to ask a question?
Yes. Hi, Jim. Thank you.
Hey.
Thank you for the chaos. There's something really comical about this happening, this Zoom happening, because it seems to serve no purpose whatsoever. It's not really happening. There's nothing. There's no one listening or speaking, for that matter. There's this message happening, and yet the language used in the message also seems utterly inappropriate, unfit to express what the message contains. So I keep shaking my head and having a grin on my face as I'm participating in this happening. Yeah, in fact, as I said, I can only become a witness and be somewhat entertained by the whole thing. I'm not sure I'm getting anything. I don't need to get anything because it's all of this is right here, right now. There's only this, and this is the complete. And it would be true to express within the limitation, the terrible limitation of the language, that this is this playing with this self.
Yeah.
This playing with this.
Yeah.
Interacting with this.
But only in the dream.
Correct. Only in the dream.
Yeah, it's not really playing because there's no real separation.
Now, what about the value? If
there's no value.
Exactly. Thank you. What about the concept then of, and it's a concept, the becoming a conscious dreamer somewhere? Because I look at you.
Hope. Yeah, that's hope. If I become conscious, I'll have a better experience.
A better experience, right.
Well, that's all I'm looking for is a better experience.
But the word better is only taken in consideration because the me think it's true, it's real. Yeah. There's no better, there's only this.
Yeah. But there's no this. So you said now before as though it was a synonym for this. There's no now. There's no objectifiable knowable this. There's only the unknowable arising.
Correct. Right. Well, again, I'm dealing with the limitations of the language again. That's what I started with, is that it seems like, we given a language that is so unfit to talk or to express, or to even describe what can be described with those.
It's not that it's unfit for it. It's just that what we're talking about is already everything. So there's no way to objectify it. It's not that it's unfit for it.
So as I'm listening to you saying that, I'm thinking, again, what's the whole purpose of this Zoom happening?
Nothing. There is no purpose. The purpose comes as the experience of the individual. And that purpose is to find something that it feels is missing. And the response is, nothing's missing, there is no purpose.
Now, once this meeting ends, or this happening ends,
it only apparently ends. It doesn't really.
That's right. Right.
It's not really happening.
There's this part of me that come up and say, you know, and I'm answering myself as I'm anyway. Because you're still going to have to deal with a dream.
No, there is no dream.
Well,
There is no
at
dream.
it.
There is
I'm looking
no
at
dream.
it.
There
I'm
is
looking
no
at a part
dream.
of the dream. It's on my screen. My dream computer.
You've misunderstood the message.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm glad you. Okay.
There's only one dream, and that's I am. I am arises as a cloud of knowing and ownership, in which, as long as the I am is there, everything happens within it. That dream has within it the need of meaning and purpose, has the experience of things being real, them mattering, the whole thing,
Right.
That's the only dream. The screen is actually screaming, this is unrecognizable freedom screening.
Now, see, that really resonates with me. That all of this, everything, my chair, the desk, is screaming and affirming all that is. That really just moves me deeply. And I think I'm going to end with that.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, everybody. Lovely to see you guys again. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you, Jim. Great as always.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you, Jim.
Well.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you.
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jim. Thank you.
Thanks, Jim.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Bye, guys.